Welcome to the war. Okay, fear not. I still have my Blood and Plunder table set up just around the corner, but I figure I'd make use of another table that I was able to put together for a game of Lion Rampant. And a little bit of a preamble here before we get into the scenario and the forces, etc. But I wasn't planning on recording this. This was just going to be a quick solo game. I just wanted, scratch a little bit of a Lion Rampant itch. That's what we're going to be playing. Or what I'm going to be playing. But it was such an interesting game, where the outcome was sort of unique or interesting to me, that I wanted to try it again, basically with a fresh set of eyes, knowing now what I know based on the scenario. And essentially, what makes this interesting is, or to me at least, is we've got two forces here, and on this side, certainly for Lancaster, or the House of Lancaster, they have the force that's straight out of the Lion Rampant book. So and this force, we'll get into the forces in a second here. And this force I put together with the intent that it basically had more units. It wasn't as elite. And when I was deploying everything and really starting to get the game going, I was just really frankly befuddled on how this force stood a chance at all. Anyway, after a few turns, it quickly became evident that it was the other way around. And essentially, we'll get to the terrain here, but the two units of archers were basically set up on this hill and were just completely decimating everything that the House of York was throwing at them. And it was an incredibly one-sided game, just not the side I thought it was going to be. So I literally, like, the billmen here were kind of a speed bump, but the main unit of elite infantry didn't even see combat. So it was a complete wash. Anyway, I thought I'd play this again, this time record it. I would love to get anyone else's thoughts, opinions, feedback on different tactics, things we could do here, or how how the game played out, or how this game plays out. I'm really curious to see how an outcome could be different this time. There wasn't anything particularly lucky or unlucky about either side's force in the previous game, but even so, this was still an unusual, to me, an unusual outcome. So we're gonna fight this one again. And let's see if we can at least give the House of Lancaster a little bit of a run for their money. So without further ado, let's get on to the specifics of the army construction or army list. Okay, as I said, so for the House of Lancaster, this is the Wars of the Roses suggested list. It's straight out of the Lion Rampant rulebook. So you can see we've got a unit of elite infantry here. They do contain the commander. And then we've got two units of veteran archers, one there and the other one here. And then a unit of veteran billmen, or veteran heavy infantry. So that's the straight list out of the book for the House of Lancaster. Now, for the House of York, they have a unit of heavy cavalry here, again containing the commander. Two units of skirmishers, and they're handgunners, but again, taking the lead from the book recommendation, I'm not using the handgunners stat lines or rules. I'm playing them simply as skirmishers. So we've got those. Then we've got a unit of crossbowmen here, a unit of archers here, and then two units of, again, heavy spearmen, heavy infantry here. But again, these are all regular, no veterans or green troops or anything like that. They're just straight, normal, average troops. Anyway, let's talk just quickly while I'm here. I'm going to be using this table is 8x4, but I'm going to be playing on a 6x4. Basically, this hill here is the edge of the board, so we won't be using this part. And it's fairly generic. I think there's a little bit of rough terrain there, a few woods and hills around. This hill was incredibly, I think, I don't even know if it was because there was a hill there. It didn't really play much of a part, but the fact that that was sort of a central point, I think, might be interesting or might be relevant. And then, yeah, if I didn't say so before, I'm playing the scenario 16 from the book Blood Feud. Basically, over. Let's just quickly go over here. The attacker, in this case York, has to kill the Lancastrian commander, and the House of Lancaster basically has to hold out until there are only 5 units left on the board. That's when the game ends. So there is sort of a slightly counter objective, I think I would say, to each side of these. It's not like each one of them is going to win by killing the commander. And yeah, we'll see how this plays out. So I'll get everything set up, and again, let's see how this plays out. It really should be an interesting game. Okay, everything's deployed. For Lancaster, I really just stuck with what worked. So we've got the 2 units of veteran archers here, giving them a commanding position on the hill, and then on their flank, they've got the veteran billmen and the elite infantry behind them containing the prize, obviously their commander there. So I'm trying not to give either side an unfair advantage here, obviously solo gaming, but this setup really did work for them in a very convincing way last time I played this off camera. So I'm going to see if this is a sort of a Lancastrian egg for York to crack. Now, that being said, let's show you what I've got for York. Now, overall strategic intent here is to just move everything kind of in a mass forwards, ultimately giving the archers too many different targets to shoot at rather than trying to piecemeal it. That is going to depend a little bit on getting some successful activation rolls. Now, that being said, I am fully aware, yes, the commander is over here, and I think only this unit is going to be within range of using his lucky second activation attempt. But I think this gives him the best chance of cover coming down the side. And really, the way the train is set up, it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit getting everything to go at once. But that being said, over on the right side here, I've got the 2 units of skirmishers. They contributed absolutely nothing in the first time I tried this, so I'm going to try and have them use a little bit more cover to advance and hopefully create some more targets. And then you can see here in the middle, I've got the core with the crossbows, the archers, and the 2 units of pike. Again, just trying to move on en masse here and cause kind of an overwhelming effect on their opponents. Now, that being said, I think we're ready to get started. Just one note, I am not using any of the commander abilities for this game. I did actually use them in the game I played off camera. It heavily favored York and didn't favor Lancaster at all, but it didn't matter at all. So either way, I'm not going to use those just for simplicity's sake. All right, we'll get started. The attacker's going first. Let's roll some dice. Okay, a textbook first turn for the House of York. Everything was able to activate. They just moved forwards, their full movement allowance. I think you can see on both flanks, the cavalry and the skirmishers both have a little bit of an extra movement, but for the whole, everything is just moving ahead. I think this is going to create some of a bottleneck here, at least for the archers. But I think that's kind of this is the way it's going to be. But over here, the House of Lancaster elected to do nothing. I just think it's best they hold there for now and wait and see. Maybe a few failed activations on York side might change things, but for now they're going to sit tight and get those arrows ready. All right, on to the next turn. York's got a little catching up to do. So you can see here things have started to break down. On the Yorkist side, they did fail an activation outside of the commander's range about halfway through moving everything. So the cavalry and the 2 missile units here weren't able to activate. The billmen were, and the skirmishers were, and I can already see they're going to prove a little bit of a conundrum for Lancaster, who, again, I've elected they're just going to stay there, see how this plays out for a minute. It's really not in their interest, I don't think, to move or kind of jockey things around. But I do see the skirmishers here are already posing a little bit more of a conundrum than they were before, where they kind of raced ahead and just got shot. So yeah, we're gonna have to try to level up York over here, and meanwhile Lancaster's looking like they're ready. So yeah, again, a quick turn, on to the next. An embarrassingly quick turn. The cavalry was able to activate for York, and then the crossbows failed. So that was again, ridiculously short turn. House of Lancaster didn't do anything. On to the next. All right, we're starting to get close to being in archery range now. So this is definitely starting to get interesting, and I can already tell that the House of York is going to put up a more of a challenge or a better fight than they did last time. So everything on the Yorkist side activated. They are all pushed ahead, either their maximum distance or within just shy of 18-inch range against the Lancastrian bows. So yes, definitely next turn they're going to start to make a push into shooting range, at least for the two archer units on the hill. Now, I must say, again, this has been all York right now, but or so far. But Lancaster, the impetuous side of me, really wants to push the billmen over here ahead, possibly even the elite infantry, just to get stuck in and get into melee. But I'm going to hold them back just for now. Let's see how this plays out. Everything from a range point of view for York is still pretty well out of range. But yeah, I think next turn we're definitely going to see some shots fired. So you can see from this side how I think the vice is squeezing in on the House of Lancaster. Let's see what happens. Okay, a little perspective from the other side of the table this time. So we've seen our first casualties. Both units of archers fired at the heavy cavalry and were able to take out two of them. They passed their courage check and they're okay. For the Yorkist side, both of the billman units were able to move forward. The handgunners or the skirmishers were able to move forward. They're certainly now posing a credible threat. But the two units of missile troops, the crossbows and the archers on the Yorkist side, failed to activate. So they are really left behind. It's funny, I was a little concerned about this bottleneck here, but it's really not a problem anymore. The archers keeping up is the problem. So on the Lancaster side, as I said, both units of archers fired and caused some damage. And I did just move up, or elect to move up, the billmen to be able, at least within charge range of at least one of these units of skirmishers, because I think they could be problematic. And the fact that this hedge is on this side of the hill, I think that will confer some sort of cover bonus or movement penalty to anyone kind of charging through that, like this unit of bill here. And then, yeah, I just slightly shuffled the leader's unit of elite infantry up a little bit, just to provide support in case something crazy happens. I think the main thrust of the attack is going to be over here, so he's currently out of danger range, I think. So yeah, all right, let's see what happens in the next turn. Okay, another pivotal failed activation for the House of York leaves them in a precarious position. So the archer unit here wasn't able to activate because the crossbow unit failed its activation, and also resulting in both units of skirmishers not being able to activate. So the only three units that were able to move were the two billman units, and the heavy cavalry shuffled up just a little bit, staying outside of that charge range, which makes it affects target prioritization for the archers on the on the Lancastrian side. Now, that being said, the billmen here, who I thought were going to get severely shot at by the two units of skirmishers, elected instead to make a charge into this unit of bill here. They did unsuccessfully. Ultimately, they only caused one casualty and took two in return. However, neither side failed their courage test, and then consequently, the two units of archers here unloaded into this unit and caused a further three casualties between them. Not great results considering their higher shoot value. But anyway, they are definitely feeling a bit of a squeeze here. And I think there's a number of interesting ramifications or things that could happen here. But I was initially planning to push the bill into the skirmishers and just get rid of them. But then I really thought if these billmen here on the Yorkist side get even just a little bit closer, I can't remember if you can pre-measure in this game or not, but ultimately they are 7 inches out, so they are going to need to make an extra move anyway. They're still quite vulnerable, but I think there's definitely going to be a bloody next turn. Let's see what happens. You can't make this up, and this is one of the things I both love and hate about the Lion Rampant rules. So the very first activation I thought I'd have, it wasn't the most easiest to roll on the dice, but I elected to have the skirmishers shoot and soften up this unit of billmen here before this unit of bill charged them in. They failed their activation. They rolled a double 1. So ultimately, the House of York didn't get to have any activation whilst facing down all of these enemies. So consequently, Lancaster, the billmen, charged into this unit of bill. They inflicted 2 casualties. They took 2 casualties too, but the Yorkist billmen came off the worst wear and are now battered. You can see I've marked that there. So yeah, there was absolutely nothing going on the Yorkist side. Meanwhile, the 2 units of archers focused all of their fire into this unit of bill and inflicted 5 casualties. However, they did hold, or they didn't run away. They passed their courage test for that. So again, precarious position here, but we'll focus that one. And then over here, just again now with this unit of bill moving out of the way, it really did kind of leave the elite infantry with the leader facing down the skirmishers here. So I elected to just shuffle them over behind the woods here. I think discretion is the better form of valor in that respect. So that being said, again, it's a tricky, messy situation here. We've got quite a number of different little things happening. Both units of missile troops on the Yorkist side have done absolutely nothing for quite a few turns. I think the cavalry here are poised to make a difference or be a difference maker in the next turn. And we still got this swirling mess in the middle here. So let's move on, see what happens. This was one of those turns that needed to be recorded in real time. So much happened. All right, so for the House of York, the good news is both units of missile troops activated, as did the skirmishers here. They moved up, still out of, or not having the ability to shoot at them. That kind of cost them an extra move. However, yeah, this happened. Essentially, the Lancastrian billmen were able to withstand a charge from the Yorkist billmen, who became battered. This unit of archers shot at them, and they failed their courage test and were wiped out. Consequently, this unit of bill charged into the horse. I had moved the horse up to here. They were really trying to push everything at once. And completely wiped them out. This then resulted in the other unit of bill failing their courage test, and then with the loss of the leader, this unit of archers also failed their courage test and retreated. So, I hope I recorded all of that accurately. Long story short, the archers and the billmen just absolutely wrecked everything that York was throwing at them. And again, without so much as taking a scratch over on this side. I really, I mean, look, I think this is game. I'll play it out for another couple of turns. Maybe those skirmishers can come around and blast the leader in the face. Who knows? But look, this is not gone well at all. And I can't really, I guess I can't really blame the dice. Other than in that previous turn, yeah, they fail an activation right off the bat. That was hugely pivotal for York. But oof, again, it all just seemed to fall apart. And these archers, I can't get over how powerful they are. Being able to roll hits on 4+ is devastating when they're fully strength. Anyway, I'm gonna a swirl of thoughts here. Like how this all worked out. I don't know how I could have done it differently. I felt like I was giving the cavalry some breathing room by mixing them in with the infantry, but they just got torn apart. Anyway, all right, let's see how this plays out. Okay, I'm going to call this the final turn, and here's why. I hope no one thinks I'm giving up easily or failing out here. But essentially, again, York failed their first activation, so the 2 units of skirmishers were left really kind of out in the open at the mercy or lack thereof of fire from the 2 units of archers. So they both respectively shot into them, causing retreats and battered effects to both. And again, fundamentally now we've got an above strength unit of Bill over here, really not in any kind of danger. This unit of elite infantry haven't even been touched. And, you know, really the only real credible threat to them would be the crossbows. But their limited range of fire is going to be absolutely capitalized on by these 2 units of, you know, archers that can shoot further and far more effectively. So I just don't see a way that York can win here. So again, an unexpected ending, I think, a little bit to the game. But again, I'd love anyone's thoughts tactically on what could be done differently here. I really do feel like these 2 units of elite or veteran archers on the hill are just an absolute monster to try and stop. So again, I think York did have a couple of unlucky activation attempts. They lost a couple of those first. I could totally see myself replaying this and not doing this, or you know, trying to just figure out other tactics around the way they could do that. Having the cavalry with the leader on the flank, maybe not being able to, you know, capitalize on his reroll ability, maybe would have had an effect. But again, you know, as we're pushing in, those archers are just gonna decimate anything that gets in front of them or within their 12 inches, certainly. So again, feedback welcome. I would be more than interested to see how other people would, or I would certainly be interested to see how other people might play this out. But it was two games now that you know, using the same tactics have worked for York and for Lancaster, and York's just been left kind of as a punching bag. So I hope this was entertaining to watch. When everyone was pushing in here, I thought it was going to be a lot more of a interesting or close fought battle, let's put it that way, than it ended up being. So anyway, thanks for watching.